Hello, my name is Andrew, and today we're talking about the pros and the cons of the vivobarefoot PRIMUS Trail Knit FG versus the FG Knit grounding. So both versions have a wide toe box, and because of the more stretchy material up top, it's one of the wider Vivo styles, but it does have some taper on the outside, and it's still not wide enough for someone with extra wide feet. That said, the knit feels more soft on the top of your foot compared to regular mesh like the PRIMUS Trail Flow, where it just doesn't really flex, and the pattern on the grounding version just looks a little bit more knitty to me. We have some bigger holes for perforation, so I just found a little bit more airflow coming through. Like most Vivos though, they are lower volume, and if your toes are a little bit bent like mine are, it can create some pressure, especially around the pinky toe area. Although interestingly, last time I went with the 44 and this time I went with the 43, which felt way better when the shoe flexed. So I think sometimes pressure issues can actually come from wearing a shoe that's just a little bit too long and your foot's hitting in the wrong place. In terms of the laces, they've still got this drawstring set up here. I basically just pulled it snug when I first got the shoe, and then I looped the laces around underneath each other. Although I do like that the new version has these elastic laces because it's just a little bit more comfortable on the top of my foot versus the original FG, which just has a straight drawstring. Although non-stretchy laces are more durable if you're catching them on something like a thorn. Up top, you've still got a stretchy slip-on collar, which makes it really easy to take the PRIMUS Trail Knit FG on and off. But another reason I prefer the bungee laces is that it seems to just keep the top of the tongue more straight, whereas the regular drawstrings can kind of create some crimping issues. Although partly it's just because the shoe is a little bit bigger than I needed. The biggest difference with the grounding version though is that it's got this conductive material here in the sole, which allows current to pass through the bottom of the shoe. And while there's no conclusive science one way or the other in terms of whether grounding has the benefits that people claim, it's one of those things where it doesn't hurt and it might help, so why not? If you're wondering about the texture of the conductive material, I could barely feel it at all in the shoe, mostly because the FG has a thicker sole than something like the Sensus grounding. So with a sock on, I don't know that I could even tell a difference between the two. And just a small design detail, I love how the knit is kind of like popping out of the Vivo logo. But yeah, other than that, the side support is still the same on both versions. In terms of the sole, it's 5.5 millimeters, so middle of the road, but has some really good flexibility. The interesting thing though is that the grounding version seems to have much better flexibility despite looking almost exactly the same. Like with the original, I have to put quite a bit of pressure on the forefoot to get it to fold, whereas the grounding just squishes in half. So the grounding version just felt more agile to me, especially for things like fast hiking and trail running. Although the FG tread pattern is still exactly the same. We have a bit wider spaced lugs in the front for more grip, and then denser panels in back for protection on rocks and other sharp terrain. But like the name suggests, it is a firm ground tread, so if you want more grip on things like mud and water, you're better off of a deeper tread like the PRIMUS Trail SG. Alright, so those are the pros and the cons of the vivobarefoot PRIMUS Trail Knit FG, but if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop with the referral links down below, browse and filter more products with the shoe finder tool on my website barefootwear.org, or watch my zero drop transition video to learn more about barefooting. Finally, if you have a question about the vivobarefoot PRIMUS Trail Knit or about barefoot shoes in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace!